Professor of Islamic Social Finance Economics and the Dean of the Faculty of Economics and Management at IPB University, Indonesia. His academic and professional focus lies in Islamic social finance, particularly zakat, wakaf, and Islamic philanthropy, as well as the integration of Sharia-based policies into national development frameworks. Over the years, he has contributed extensively to the advancement of Islamic economics through research, advisory work, and leadership roles. In addition, he currently serves as a commissioner at Prudential Sharia, providing oversight and governance to ensure compliance with Sharia principles, regulatory standards, and good corporate governance practices. Without any further ado, we would like to call upon Yang Berbahagia Professor Dr. Irfan Syauqi to present his keynote entitled Optimization of Wakaf for Socio-Economics and Development. Please welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very good morning. First of all, I would like to thank the organizer for inviting me to this prestigious event. And to be honest, this is my first time attending a properties conference. And I would like to share with you about the role of one of, you can say, the oldest instrument in the history of Islam, which is wakaf, and how it is related with the endeavor to increase the welfare of the Ummah, and at the same time, it can unlock many opportunities that are needed today in order to revive the economic development of this entire Ummah, including the utilization of wakaf instrument in the property sector. Because now there is a growing tendency all over the world to connect the wakaf instrument with properties development. And in some countries, for example, like in Saudi Arabia, they have their own wakaf investment company, and one of their major programs is on the development of hotel industry. If you look at the hotels around the Makkah al-Mukarramah or Madinatul Munawwarah, if you see unfinished development of hotel, it must carry the name of Awqaf Investment Company. And even the Islamic Development Bank itself, it has also a branch or a subsidiary company which is called APIF, APIF, Awqaf Properties Investment Fund of the Islamic Development Bank. That's why today the organizer inviting me to share about the concept of wakaf and how it can be utilized optimally for the betterment of the Ummah. And in this event, in this very good moment, I would like to divide my presentation into two parts. The first one, I would like to explore the concept of wakaf. And the second one is, I would like to share with you about the current development of wakaf, especially in Indonesia, because we have introduced a lot of instruments, wakaf-based instruments that are related with the Islamic financial industry and the formulation of national budget policy. So let me begin my presentation. Can you show the slide? Yeah. Let me begin my presentation with, can you go next? This one is not working. Also. Okay. Yeah. Let me begin with the very basic concept of wakaf, which is actually wakaf is already productive in nature. So if our understanding towards wakaf that wakaf is purely social, actually it is not correct. Wakaf in nature actually is already productive. This can be observed from the story of Umar bin Khattab when he consulted the Prophet Muhammad SAW on the utilization of a land in Khaybar. Umar asked the Prophet, "Prophet, what should I do with this land, with this Khaybar land?" And then the Prophet replied to him that, "Ihbis aslaha wa khabbil thamarataha." Please maintain the principle. Keep the land to be productive. You can utilize it according to the business that match the condition of the land, and then give sadaqah on every earning and income and profit coming from that utilization effort. That's why if you look at this story, it means that since the beginning wakaf is already productive in nature. That's why if we look at into the structure of Islamic economy actually discussing about three major pillars. The first pillar is on the real sector of the economy. We talk about the halal industry, we talk about the halal food, we talk about the Muslim-friendly tourism, etc. The second one, we talk about the Islamic financial institution, Islamic financial industry. Yeah, this is the second pillar, the financial sector regulated by the Islamic teaching. And the third one is the social sector, comprising zakat, sadaqah, and waqf. And these three have played their own role. Although for the financial industry, of course, there are some differences with the practice that have taken place in the past. But the essence, financial sector, monetary sector are integrated in Islamic teaching. And if you look at the ayah prohibiting riba, for example, in the Quran, it refers to financial riba. It's not related with the riba on the real sector, but it talks about the riba in the financial sector. Meaning that these three pillars must be developed together because they are interconnected one to another. And once one of these three pillars are not in the scenario, are not in the picture of our global or our national economic policy, then the development of Islamic economic instruments will not be optimal. That's why the presence of wakaf is very important. And these are some concepts related with wakaf, like there are three types of wakaf. Wakaf ahli, wakaf qali, and wakaf ishtarak. And nature of wakaf, it can be permanent, mu'abbad, or it can also be temporary. So that's why we have created a lot of instruments utilizing these characteristics of wakaf, which is on the basis of not only permanent, but also the temporary basis. And it can also be in the form of fixed asset, cash wakaf, and other assets. Because cash wakaf is another, potential that can be utilized, that can be, dig further by this ummah, because it has a lot of, impact, and it opens the opportunity for those who are not categorized in the super rich class, maybe middle income people, to be able to become waqif or donor of waqf by cash waqf. Yeah? So it's very important for us to utilize this because it has a lot of impact, economic impact, religious impact, and other impact, including ecological impact. And also the usage of waqf can be for social purposes or for commercial purposes. And the flexibility of concept of mawquf bihi, which is the waqf object or asset, and also the waqf beneficiaries. It can be Muslim, non-Muslim, it can be human, non-human. Yeah. What is the example of non-human? Cats, for example. In Istanbul, it is the city of cat. Yeah. How you feed the cat? It's from waqf. So waqf has a good impact on cats. So for animal lovers, they should love waqf. And then the foundation of waqf is based on these three concepts. Yeah? The first one is follow-oriented and maslahah maximization. So the usage of waqf, it has to be based on this follow-oriented and maslahah maximization. What is maslahah maximization? Maslahah has two dimensions in it, has three dimensions in it. The first dimension is dimension of benefit. Yeah? How an asset can be giving benefits to the society, can reduce inequality, can give benefits to the have-not or to the poor and the needy, etc. The second dimension is on the sustainable goodness, sustainability in goodness. That's the second dimension of maslahah. Yeah? And the third one is the minimization of mafsadah or destruction. So these three elements are integrated in the concept of maslahah. And when we talk about Islamic economics, including waqf instruments, that these three concepts must be kept in mind. You have to give benefit on this utilization effort. You have to ensure that the goodness is sustainable. And the last one, every destructive actions can be minimized. So these three must be kept in mind, including in your own business. Yeah? Because Alhamdulillah, I've been advisor to one of the property companies, one group in Indonesia for 5 years. Yeah? So I don't know here, yeah? But I know the fight when we talk about the asset, yeah, how to take over, how to deal, etc. Yeah, it's not easy task. Okay. And the second one is, of course, economic justice and fair distribution. And the third one, for the second one, I think all of us have the same understanding on what is justice and fair distribution. But the third one is very important. Waqf is a powerful instrument that can create growth through equity. What is growth through equity? Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, if you look at the concept of growth, normally we talk about the classical growth. Yeah? What is the classical growth? It's orientation only on the percentage. How much the percentage of growth in this first quarter this year, in Malaysia, for example, or in other countries. In Indonesia, we experienced 5.6% growth for the first quarter this year, 2026. But the problem is, you measure the growth, yeah, from the entire production, from the entire gross domestic product, irrespective of who are behind, yeah, the contributors to the increasing GDP. And who are the most contributor? Of course, big industries. They are the ones who carry the growth. Yeah. The problem is, when we talk about the classical growth, sometimes we neglect the weakest actor of economic growth. Who are they? The micro, small, and medium enterprises. That's why sometimes the classical growth create trade-off with equity. you have a good number of percentage of growth, but you also at the same time have terrible number of inequality. This is the classical growth. The second one is growth with equity. You grow first and then you share. Growth with equity. Sometimes it is accompanied by progressive redistributive policy. For example, in our case, growth with equity is indicated by progressive tax policy and social assistance policy. Yeah. After growing up, then you share through these two mechanisms. This is what has been experienced in my country. I don't know in Malaysia whether you are creating the same progressive tax policy or not, I don't know. But that's the indicator of growth with equity. It's a good start, but sometimes people just become the object of development. Yeah. People become the object of development. This is the weakness of this growth concept. And the third concept, which is growth through equity. Equity itself is the source, is the engine of growth. Meaning that those who are participating, like the MSME, will be able to be part of the group that enjoy the growth itself. So the actors especially like MSME will be part of the national focus. That's why we call it growth through equity. And how is Wakaf related with that one? Because Wakaf mostly deal with this lower income group, mostly deal with the empowerment of the MSME, creating new entrepreneurs, for example. Creating new entrepreneurs, starting their business or start-up business is part of the role that can be played by Wakaf instrument. That's why the economic actors will be, irrespective of their background, will be able to contribute optimally. And that's why in this scenario, when growth through equity is applied, the inequality, which is sometimes, not sometimes, most of the time is indicated by the Gini ratio or Kuznets ratio, can be reduced, can be minimized. So this is the concept of growth through equity. And what are the advantages of growth with equity? Number one, it creates economic resilience. Because MSMEs are playing significant role, the fundamental of economy is stronger. It's not only big in numbers, but also just in terms of social situation. So this is the growth through equity, the benefit. The second one is distributive justice. Growth through equity concept will open access to the people, so they have access to economic resources. And the third one is on the sustainability. It will create long-term, sustainable, and inclusive economic growth. That's why shifting the paradigm from classical growth to growth through equity is very important, and it can be done when the social sector become more productive sector. When Wakaf can also be transformed from social instrument into the commercial instrument. Because when Wakaf act as commercial instrument, automatically it will always have the social side, the social aspect in it. Because you cannot separate Wakaf from the social aspect. But the problem is how to make it more productive so the social impact can be made bigger. That's why the role of Wakaf is very important in creating this growth through equity concept. And these are the Wakaf program pillars. We can talk about cash Wakaf, healthcare, education, economic empowerment, dakwah, social and humanitarian projects, environmental wakaf, etc. Yeah. Now there are many projects now which take place all over the world utilizing the concept of wakaf. Last May, on 20th of May, I was invited by the Asian Development Bank in the Philanthropy Asia Summit in their session on 20th of May, and also the Rockefeller Foundation. Yeah. What we discussed in the event that was taking place in Singapore, we talk about the wakaf model. Yeah. To become part of the economic initiative in financing the climate. Climate financing now becomes hot issue. Yeah. All of us already know about the importance of sustainability, the importance of green economy, blue economy, etc. And how to finance this climate problem. Yeah. The government budget is not sufficient. One country may be able just to utilize maybe maximum to finance it 40%. More than 40% will be very difficult. And how even for the achievement of SDGs, now we are 4 years left to achieve the 17 goals of the sustainable development. Because it requires a lot of fund. And how to finance the gap to achieve the SDGs, to achieve the sustainability in the future. Yeah. Wakaf can be one of the solutions. It's not the only solution, but it can be one of the solutions. So the spectrum and the usage of wakaf, are very huge. It can be used in any sector as long as the economic sector is compliant with the Sharia principles. Yeah. So this is important. And in contemporary wakaf models now that have taken place, we have pure social approach, wakaf for mosque. Yeah. In Indonesia, we call it 3M: madrasah, masjid, makam, cemetery, mosque, and madrasah. Yeah. The usage of wakaf. So for social purpose, it happens now. And the second one, which is now growing, is on the commercial or productive approach. We can have pure business model. Let me give you an example. The mosque near from here, Beik-Indonesia in Singapore. Yeah. Maybe some of you are coming from Singapore. You should share about how the Beik-Indonesia mosque in Singapore used the wakaf, the land of wakaf. What did they do? They built apartment and commercial complex integrated with the mosque using the available land, wakaf land. Now they can have income 7 to 8 million Singapore dollars. It's near from here. Yeah. So meaning that why they do that one, apartment and commercial complex, and why some developers are interested to do it? Because no acquisition cost for the land. This is one of the most expensive part. Yeah, I don't know. In Indonesia, it's one of the most expensive part. Yeah, for developers, which is the land. And acquisition cost for the land is zero. Why? Because it's already wakaf land. Then you can just calculate when you invest building an apartment on the wakaf land. I don't know, maybe there are many wakaf land here. Yeah, you collaborate with the Nazir, or in Malaysia it is called Mutawalli. Some countries use the term Nazir, some others use the term Mutawalli. But the essence is they are same. The essence is they are the wakaf managers. They are trusted by the wakif, the donor. Yeah. And I don't know here, but according to what I have learned, still there are many unutilized wakaf land. It also happens in Indonesia. Out of 400,000 location of Waqaf land, amounted to 7 times bigger than Singapore in terms of the size. Only 9% that is productively used for economic purposes, generating sustainable income and creating positive and significant impact to the society. Only 9%. Yeah. Now we are also talking to our real estate association. Why you don't invest to this Waqaf land? But the problem is sometimes what they think, the industry sometimes what they think is to acquire the land. But if we apply the profit sharing mechanism, you can also still get a lot of profit because you don't need to acquire the land. The acquisition cost is minimum, is zero. And then the business and social hybrid model, I will explore later about this, including the financial business hybrid model. It can be reflected in some of the instruments that have been developed by us. And before I come to that part, still in this first part, we are still talking about the Waqaf, and currently, globally speaking, we have 2 types of Waqaf regime. The first one is regulated Waqaf system, and the second one is unregulated Waqaf system. And every country has its own regulation on Waqaf. Like in Islamic countries, while Saudi, Indonesia, Malaysia, etc., they have their own regulation on Waqaf. For the non-Islamic countries, India and Singapore are among the good example, although there are problems, political problems in terms of political relationship, between the Indian government, current government with, especially with the Muslims in India, unlike the previous government who always be in, good connection, but now, there are some conflicts as we observe from the media. But still, they have this Waqaf Act. And then unregulated, we can see in some other countries, who are also, attempting to optimize the Waqaf. For example, South Africa. South Africa also, the awareness, on utilization of Waqaf is increasing. And they have also Waqaf asset. Although the population, the Muslim population is less than 5% there. It's very, it's a minority Muslim country. But it has now a good focus on Waqaf. And also Kenya, Tanzania, and the rest of the world. And why it's very important to utilize this? Because we have some estimates. I've collected the estimation from various sources. I come up with the conclusion that the potential of zakat and waqaf is very huge, which is 1.6 trillion US dollar. 0.6 trillion dollar or $600 billion is the zakat potential. We have calculated this from the 57 OIC member countries. If we add with the Muslim minority countries like the UK, Australia, they have their own national zakat fund. In the UK, in Australia, even in the US, maybe the potential is increasing than 0.6 trillion dollars. And the potential of waqaf is even higher. It reached 1 trillion US dollar. How to unlock this potential? This is another challenge. And we have to get involved and participate in the effort to unlock this potential and use it, utilize it for the maximum benefit of our country. This is our challenge. And since the waqaf actually is already productive in nature, as I mentioned earlier, but majority of the Muslims still understand wakaf as a social instrument only. That's why now we promote the term productive wakaf. And the trend of productive wakaf is increasing. In the pure sector model, pure business, there are now wakaf-based business models. Properties investment, as I mentioned, maybe you can try to collaborate with the out-of investment company of Saudi Arabia, for example, so that they can invest abroad, or dealing with APIF of the Islamic Government Bank, to utilize any wakaf land. You can do that, but now it grows up. And then food and culinary. In our country now there are many models, a restaurant which are built based on wakaf. If you always travel to Bandung, I will suggest to visit one of the restaurants in Lembang, which is wakaf based. So another restaurant like Ampera is also wakaf based. It's quite famous in Bandung. So you can visit those restaurants. So when you visit there, the food that you pay, some of them will go to the beneficiaries. So you consume your food and at the same time you give donation, which is perpetual donation. It's a nice, yesterday I was brought by Dr. Reza to, what is the name? That place between KOIA and this epoch. It's a nice place if it is wakaf based. In the Elmina complex, if it is wakaf based, then excellent. You buy something there, you can fulfill your consumption, you can fulfill your food needs, clothes needs, everything you need, but at the same time, certain percentage of the price that you pay go to wakaf, so it becomes permanent, perpetual. And then it will be distributed, let's say, to the beneficiaries in the form of scholarship, for example. If you give scholarship to 1,000 students, what happened? When they graduate, they will contribute to the nation, to the society. They will get pahala ajr, and you will also receive them. And when they marry, having children, because of the scholarship opportunities you give to them, so when their children are also contributing to the society, some part of their contribution will come to you in the form of ajr, reward from Almighty God. That's the power of wakaf. That's the power of wakaf. That's why I will invite you, please, show us the best mall, but wakaf based mall. In Thailand, southern part of Thailand, they have wakaf mall. It's just simple shopping center. In Gombak, there is Ong Tai Kim, similar to Ong Tai Kim. I was graduated also from UIA. That's why I know Ong Tai Kim in Gombak. They're a favorite place for students like me to buy everything there. So why? You don't think about it. You got the money, you got the profit, you got the perpetual benefit. That's the beauty of wakaf. So you live forever because there are many examples. Like in Aceh, there is a Habib, 200 years ago, he moved to Makkah. And then he built some properties there, which are still productive until now. And he donated it as wakaf. What happened? Some of the profit earned from that business is allocated to Jamaah, to Hajj pilgrims, Jamaah Haji from Aceh. So every single Jamaah Haji from Aceh receive 9 million rupiah, maybe around 2,500 ringgit per jamaah. Every year for more than 200 years. So you can imagine the reward that he enjoyed. While at the same time, his descendants are still getting profit from that business. His descendants manage that asset, manage their properties, meaning that if they can distribute 2,500 ringgit per jamaah, thousands of jamaah every year, it means they are able also to feed themselves. They are enjoying also luxurious life, but at the same time, they get reward. This is another thing that we need to keep in mind. The entire and ultimate benefit. Also, in Islamic blended finance, I will talk about it later, and social productive wakaf, like social green wakaf project. My university also have wakaf in it. We have also forest wakaf. We have also wakaf for food security program, for the animal husbandry complex that we developed, integrated animal husbandry project, wakaf base. So what is Islamic blended finance? It is an innovative financial scheme that combines Islamic commercial finance and Islamic social finance. So combining the two, the commercial and also the social one, to provide alternative source of finance that meet the needs of achieving certain objectives. And one of the instruments for Islamic social finance is wakaf. How we merge them, I will give you two examples on how wakaf and Islamic capital market can be merged. And the second one, wakaf and the Islamic banking products can also be merged, can also be combined. In wakaf and Islamic capital market in Indonesia, we have cash wakaf link suku, CWLS. Alhamdulillah, this has received an award from Islamic Development Bank, the highest leading prize, as an innovative product, which is the issuance of sovereign suku is based on the cash wakaf. And the second one is sukuk in wakaf in Islamic securities crowdfunding. Using wakaf asset as an underlying project for sukuk issuance as Islamic securities crowdfunding platform. This is the extension of equity, equity platform. And this has been designed especially for the small and medium scale enterprises. This is an example of cash wakaf link suku. We can build eye hospital based on cash wakaf link suku. When I was as commissioner in the Indonesia Wakaf Board, which is the state institution or government institution responsible for managing wakaf system in Indonesia. So we built this glaucoma and retina center at Ahmad Wardi Eye Hospital. Ahmad Wardi Eye Hospital is a wakaf hospital. It's in Serang, and many people donating cash wakaf for this because of that reason that I mentioned. Every year, 2,000 until 3,000 beneficiaries receive free treatment for eye operation, especially cataract operation. And you can imagine if a person can be treated, his eye is treated well, can be cured with the permission of Allah, and then he can work, he can earn something, he got the ajr, the reward, and the reward also will go to the donor, to wakif. This is in our university. Our university are also investing, not much, but for us is quite big, 250, now 300 billion rupiah. Maybe if it is calculated now around 80 million ringgit. 80 million ringgit we invest in the cash wakaf in Sukuk from our endowment fund. 80 million. And then we use it for what? This is just an example on how to increase our food security program. And at the same time also providing scholarship. And increasing the quality of research. So some funding for our research and other community services program are coming from the yield obtained from our investment in the cash wakaf link sukuk instrument. And then this is the Islamic Securities crowdfunding. This is the capital market mechanism designed specifically for micro and small and medium enterprise (SMEs). Because the capital market itself is only accessible if a company would like to be listed in the capital market. It's quite difficult for the micro or for the small and medium enterprises to be listed in the capital market industry. But by providing the securities crowdfunding, they have the same opportunities to issue sukuk and to offer share or stock. But it's not traded, unlike the capital market mechanism, in which all the companies that have been listed, their stocks or shares can be traded. But here it's non-tradable market. But at least they know at the micro level the way a company can create, for example, initial public offering. The same thing, but it is exclusively for the small and medium enterprise. So there are three parties here: the investors. It can be anyone. You can invest. It can be individual or institution investing in this platform. The provider, it is the company that must get our Financial Services Authority license and approval to be the provider, because it provides the platform to reach the investor and the issuer. Securities crowdfunding issuer. They can issue shares or sukuk. And we have made pilot project, that the wakaf manager can also participate in this as the issuer. For example, in the clinic, one of the clinic, for example, this is the first clinic. They are built based on wakaf. They want to expand the business. They are still categorized as medium. But in addition to the banking, because the problem with the bank is wakaf asset cannot be made as collateral. I think in Malaysia also the same, right? Wakaf asset cannot be made as collateral. So if they want to invest and expand, what should be the best platform? So we provide this Islamic Securities crowdfunding as the alternative platform for the wakaf manager to expand their management of wakaf asset, to get sources of financing, which cannot be done through Islamic banking mechanism, because no wakaf asset can be made as collateral. That's why they can come to this. Do they make the asset as collateral? No. So how we mitigate the risk? The requirement is very simple. We need to access the provider of this securities crowdfunding must be given access to the entire financial system of that company. So they will know how much they earn for the let's say 2-3 years, and then how they invest, how much the profit, the percentage of profit, and then based on that, the provider will make calculation. and they will suggest how much money that can be used. 15 minutes. Okay. Yeah? So this is another. I have shared this also with the Malaysia Securities Commission 2 years ago about the need to have Islamic securities crowdfunding as an alternative from medium and small enterprise, maybe for small and medium developers also. Yeah, it's not only about wakaf; it can be for everything, for commercial ones, but it uses the capital market mechanism, yeah, as an alternative. And then on wakaf in Islamic banking product, we have cash wakaf in deposits. Yeah. Our university, yeah, can generate 34 billion rupiah. It's $2.5 million US dollar. Yeah, $2.5 million US dollar for the cash wakaf in deposit, and use the proceeds or the yield earned from this one mostly for scholarship project. Yeah, so the recipient of the scholarship usually 200, 300 students per year. Yeah, so using this one, cash wakaf in deposit. And also we develop green wakaf. Yeah, green wakaf now is also, growing now. And because Indonesia is very vulnerable to various disasters, we are living on the ring of fire. Yeah, from Aceh to Papua, we are living on the ring of fire. Yeah, so we are very vulnerable. That's why we need to do istighfar every time. Because sometimes, without any notice, something can happen. Yeah? That's why now we are developing the concept of green wakaf, including for clean energy development. Yeah? Now we are on the process of that. And then to measure the entire wakaf progress, we also have developed the National Wakaf Index. Alhamdulillah, Allah gave me the opportunity to create this National Wakaf Index. This is used by our Indonesian Wakaf Board now to measure the development of wakaf, and you can observe various aspects here, starting from the regulatory factor until the impact, outcome and impact. Also, we measure it. Sometimes the problem is when we talk about the beneficiaries, what is the impact of wakaf allocated for them? We will always say, Alhamdulillah, they are in a good condition. When they are asked how much the percentage of beneficiaries that can be released from the poverty, the answer is always the same. Allah knows best. But now we develop, the model, the index. I also have created an index. Alhamdulillah, it has been used also in Malaysia by INSAFE, to measure the impact on Wakaf An-Nur project. Yeah? So if you listen to the Wakaf An-Nur explanation about the impact of their program, they always say material and spiritual impact. So it is based on our index that we created. And the last one, to consolidate, in addition to World Zakat and Wakaf Forum, now 42 countries have joined. Now World Zakat and Wakaf Forum is led by Malaysian, Datuk Ghazali. We have 42 member countries. Now we are also developing the World University Network for Productive Wakaf. 6 founding universities have gathered last week in Bogor, in our university. And we invite also UIKM to join this network, because it's very important as an effort to support World Zakat and Wakaf Forum, and also to gather, to connect all the universities that have strong concern on the Wakaf development. I hope that this can be beneficial, and then we need to always think out of the box. We need to think out of the box and try to use optimized wakaf. And I suggest you, in your business planning, maybe for next year, try to include this instrument. Try to give some space for you to get reward. While you are doing your business, you are still getting your profit, but you are ensuring also the pahala, the ajr, the reward from Allah will always come to you even after we die. Yeah? So this is a very good opportunity. Give some space, yeah, to the inclusion of waqf. And many examples have been done. Yeah? Have you stayed in Usman bin Affan Hotel? It's Waqf Hotel. The oldest owner of the hotel, the name is Usman bin Affan Hotel. You know the story, right? You know the story. The hotel is already there in Medina. It is as a result of the waqf of Usman bin Affan 1400 years ago, when he welcomed the call from the Prophet. Whoever is able to release the wealth from the Jewish, then he will get Jannah. That's the Prophet's call. And Uthman responded. Yeah, and the story continues until now. Every ruler in Medina, even under any caliphate, until the last caliphate of Turki Usmani, and then transferred to the Saudi government. And in 1932, after the establishment of Saudi, they created a bank account under Usman bin Affan name. And 2 years ago, the hotel was built under his name. In the history of property development, is there any name that has that kind of hotel, although he already passed away 14 years ago? That's why I call you, give some space for the waqf to be included in your next year's business plan. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much for the speech. We would like to ask Dr. Irfan to please remain on the stage, as we will now invite a young professor, Dr. Norianto Asrun Muhammad Asrun, the Program Coordinator of Real Estate Management, to give a token of appreciation to our honorable keynote speaker.